Hello, everyone, and welcome to another great episode of the Gridiron Glory here with Tad and Will, your hosts, where we focus on all 32 NFL teams, including the Week 7 matchup between the Green Bay Packers and the Houston Texans from Lambeau Field, with the Packers coming away with the 24-22 victory over the Texans. The two very quality teams coming in. The Packers were 4-2. The Texans were 5-1. And now at 5-2, the Texans only two losses of the year come against the NFC North with the Packers and the Vikings. So interesting little tidbit there. Jordan Love had a respectable outing, 24 for 33, 220 yards, 3 touchdown passes, 2 interceptions. Spread the ball out well, got a touchdown to Dontavian Wicks, got a touchdown to the tight end Tucker Kraft, and even got a touchdown pass to the running back Josh Jacobs, who also had a fairly respectable game. So that's what we're looking at with the Packers offense, which has rebounded fairly nicely since the Jordan Love injury. The first week he missed a few games, and now he's back, and he's doing what he can. He's making a lot of throws that are interesting throws, some high-risk throws that have ended up working out for the better. And his leadership on the game-winning drive at the end was just enough to lead the Packers to a victory on the game-winning field goal by their new kicker, Brandon McManus, the veteran, who's been around the league. And Will, I'd like to ask, what's your take on Brandon McManus joining the Green Bay Packers and immediately hitting a game-winning field goal?
Yeah, Brandon McManus, the Super Bowl winning kicker, who has a Super Bowl ring. Definitely a veteran, if nothing else, in the NFL. Once again, makes an insanely clutch kick for a team that Tad loves so much, the Green Bay Packers. I'm kidding, because if you guys have been watching the show, we all know that Tad is a Minnesota fan. So he speaks very professional about it, but just know, folks, that deep down inside, he's truly heartbroken by this result. But nonetheless, he respects it, and he respects Jordan Love and what Jordan Love has been able to come back and do since his injury. And I mean, quite frankly, Tad, this is, while we're touching on the subject of the Green Bay Packers, also the subject of the NFC North and what a powerful division this is turning out to be. And I would just like to, real quick, Tad, get your take on your opinion of the NFC overall, the NFC North overall, real quick. Like, just speaking about their teams.
For sure. I mean, and we'll have some more content out specifically around the Detroit-Minnesota game that took place, an incredible football game between two very good teams. But as we see, there's at the very least 3 top-tier teams, and then Chicago, they're 4-2 as well, so they're competing. We don't know for sure how good they are yet, but they are competing. Detroit looks like, honestly, the class of the NFC, and they look like a team that, if they continue to play like this, they could be playing in the Super Bowl. I mean, I don't think that's too crazy a thought to think. Obviously, Minnesota was the last undefeated team in the NFC. They have some big wins. They also beat these Texans, and we've seen what the Packers have done. So, obviously, a stacked division. Every team with
at the very least, for sure, a 3-team race. I mean, but to be honest with you, Tad, I would probably still put the betting favorites on Detroit.
Yeah, I think Detroit's the best team in the division.
Minnesota and Green Bay, I think, will once again for sure contend for playoff spots.
I think that's very possible.
Just like last year.
There's 3 quality teams, and I still think the verdict is out on Chicago. I don't know for sure how good they are. They've beaten some teams that are not expected to be very good teams, and they'll have a chance to prove it. I mean, they have a tough schedule down the road, obviously, with the rest of the division, but we'll see what Chicago has. But I think Detroit, Minnesota, and Green Bay all have staying power to be competitive.
Yeah, that's a very hot take there. But yeah, you look at the Houston Texans. Like you said, C.J. Stroud definitely had an extremely tough time against a very feisty Packers defense. And I mean, you talk about guys that really disrupted C.J. Stroud's game, like Eric Wilson, Kenny Clark, Ajirian Cooper. Real quick, what was your take on the Packers defense being able to shut down Stroud for the most part?
Yeah, I mean, holding a quarterback like C.J. Stroud, one of the top quarterbacks in the league, to under 100 yards passing, below 50%, that's an incredible day for anyone. Their secondary showed out, their defensive line showed out. Eric Wilson, 4 tackles for loss, absolutely incredible effort there. So they made the plays. They limited any big plays from the Texans, especially in the pass game. They didn't have any passes over 28 yards. I mean, Joe Mixon had a solid game. I will say that, 25 for 115 yards, 2 touchdowns. So the run defense, perhaps a bit of a struggle there, but they really did an unbelievable job shutting down CJ Stroud. Just not something you would expect with a quarterback like Stroud.
Yeah, no, definitely not. I just, a lot to be anticipated, a lot to be learned from the play of CJ Stroud. A learning moment for him for sure in his very young NFL career.
Yeah, I'd expect a bounce back for sure. I mean, I think that we'll see a lot better from CJ Stroud moving forward.
I will still easily take the Texans to win the AFC South.
Easily, yeah. I mean, they're a game ahead of the Colts. They have the head-to-head win, I believe, in their back pocket. Yeah, they do. So it'll be an interesting.
To me, the Texans are still the heavy favorites for the division.
I'd agree.
So, I mean, a 5-2, you still got a long season, so just a learning moment if nothing else for the Texans.
And I mean, the Texans, they are still 5-0 against their own conference, the AFC. As I mentioned, both their losses against the NFC North. So I mean, when you're looking at like tiebreakers, that could be a big deal down the road.
Yeah. So I don't really have any final thoughts or takes on this game unless you do.
Yeah, I think we've hit everything. Just a really competitive game between 2 quality teams, and we'll just see what they have moving forward. So thanks for following along and watching. Please continue to follow, like, and subscribe as we give quality NFL content throughout the season. Thank you.